हेलो एवरीवन। और मुझे पता है कि आप सब लोग बड़े ही अ, हमारा वेट कर रहे हैं कि कब हम आते हैं और आपसे बात करते हैं। तो आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है वो है इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन। और यस, मैं आपका अपना नाम बताना भूल गई। मैं हूँ श्रद्धा, आपकी होस्ट, जो इस टाइम आपके सामने एक नया टॉपिक लेके आई है इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन का। तो हम इस संदर्भ में आपसे बात करने वाले हैं। सो वेट एंड वॉच। मैम गड़बड़ हो गया है, वापस मैं कर रही हूँ। वेट। ओ, तो हमारे साथ है विशाखा गुप्ता मैम, जो कि हैं पुणे से। और पुणे में वो प्रिंसिपल है बैकन हाई स्कूल एंड जूनियर कॉलेज की। इसके अलावा वो एक न्यूज़ आर्टिकल भी लिखती हैं और उनकी बुक्स भी पब्लिश होने वाली हैं, अंडर प्रिंट चल रही हैं। इसके अलावा वो अवॉर्डी हैं, उनको कोरोना वॉरियर का अवार्ड मिला हुआ है हमारी क्लब, एक ही रॉयल क्लब की तरफ से, जो पुणे में स्थापित है। इसके अलावा उन्होंने काफी कुछ इसी सेक्टर में काम किया हुआ है। तो अब हम मिलते हैं विशाखा गुप्ता मैम से। ओके मैम, प्लीज कम।
Thank you, Shraddha. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for giving me time to hear me out. I am Vishakha Gupta, a learner for life, and I'm here to tell you the little that I know about inclusive education. So, Shraddha, if you give me permission, can I share my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So, inclusive learning एक ऐसा टॉपिक है जिसको हमने अभी तक काउंसलर, साइकोलॉजिस्ट, साइकाइट्रिस्ट से सुना है. Now, when as principals, as teachers, we talk about inclusive learning, there is a lot that we can do. And today, when I'm going to talk about inclusive learning, I am going to talk about what I and you, as a normal human being who does not have a counselor's degree, who does not have a psychologist or a psychiatrist specialized degree, can do for these children. तो मेरा आज का टॉक इसके बारे में है कि हम आप एज टीचर्स, एज पेरेंट्स, एज प्रिंसिपल्स क्या कर सकते हैं जबकि हम काउंसलर्स नहीं हैं, हम साइकोलॉजिस्ट नहीं हैं, साइकाइट्रिस्ट नहीं हैं. तो मैं उस स्पेशलाइज्ड फील्ड को टच नहीं करूंगी, बट डेली की बातें करूंगी आपसे. तो सबसे पहले वील ट्राई एंड अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज इंक्लूसिव लर्निंग एनवायरनमेंट. इंक्लूसिव लर्निंग एनवायरनमेंट क्या होता है? इंक्लूसिव लर्निंग एनवायरनमेंट में हर तरह के बच्चे, all kind of students, they come together and they study together, and this kind of an environment is created for them. Now, what are the different kind of children? Let's understand the three major kind of children. The first kind is the gifted ones. The second kind are the normal ones, and the third kind are. So when I say gifted, normal, and specially able, gifted means who are able to complete their work quicker as compared to the other ones. Then normal ones, they have the normal IQ and they take the required time to complete their work. And specially able means who need help. Now, when we define the term specially abled, I am talking about some kind of physical issue or some kind of a mental issue. Now, again, these physical issues and mental issues have to be dealt by people like us at the first, because we are the frontline workers with these children. When I say frontline workers, I mean teachers who are in touch with these children on a day-to-day basis. Now, how day-to-day basis? Because teachers deal with these children in class, with all kinds of children in class. Without any barriers or differentiation, they deal with children. And then when they see or they identify that there is something different, something special, something which needs attention, then they go and report to the school heads, they report to the counselors, and then the counselors take it forward. So we as teachers have to play our role very, we have to play a very strong role here. Now here, before I go ahead, I'd like to tell you a story. सबको स्टोरी सुनने में बढ़िया लगता है, बट ये एक स्टोरी ऐसी है जिसमें हमें बहुत ध्यान से सुनना है कि क्या हुआ. All of us know the story of Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was sent home by his teacher one day with a letter. And in this letter, in this folded letter, which he was not supposed to read but just hand over to his mother, mother opens the letter and she reads it. She has tears in her eyes and she folds the letter and keeps it. Einstein asks him, Mother, what is there inside the letter? And the mother says, Your school has told me that you are an exceptional child, you are very talented, and you have so much of talent that the school feels ill-equipped to teach you. Actually, the content of the letter was that we are, throwing out the child from the school because they cannot handle the child. The child is good for nothing. But the mother does not tell this to the boy, to Einstein. And she says, I will teach you at home, I will homeschool you. And we all know what Einstein became. So, at that given point of time, people did not understand the importance of inclusive education. People find it very difficult to identify, such children who have some kind of issues. They are, laughed at, they are made fun of, they don't find help, which is why CPSE found it important to have inclusive learning environments and inclusive education. You all must have seen the movie Tare Zameen Par. Now, Tare Zameen Par, I can't forget that line when Ishan Avasthi says, Madam, the letters are dancing. Other children laugh. But imagine the plight of the child who actually is not able to understand the letters. There are mirror images. There are images that he is not able to comprehend, and which is where these children need help. So as teachers, if we see some children writing in mirror image or some children reporting something like this, they have to be dealt with compassion. They have to be given a lot of care and concern. And then report their case to the people who are qualified to do it, that is the counselors who come to your school, and let them handle it forward. But then as the frontline people in the school handling and in touch with the children on day-to-day basis, teachers have to be very, very sharp at identifying. Now, this is a line that I believe very deeply. Inclusive education is a dynamic, ever-evolving approach that requires ongoing reflection and continuous enhancement. So it has to be evolved because we have to feel, okay, now what can I do for the child? I have to reflect time and again. Okay, I have done this, but now what? What next can I do for my child, for my student? And it requires continuous enhancement. Continuous enhancement means where I keep developing steps and action that I can do for my students, and then it helps them, and I'm able to make some little change or a radical change in their life. Now, what are the key features that that an inclusive learning environment comprises of? First of all, in an inclusive learning environment, as you can see in the picture, and in an inclusive learning environment, all students experience learning as accessible. So the teacher designs her activities, her work in such a way that education becomes accessible. Everybody is able to reach the level. Now these levels may vary, but according to the abilities, they reach a certain point. Nobody is stagnated. It is meaningful and relevant. So education is passed on from the teacher to the taught. It is meaningful education that helps the child and takes the child forward in life, promotes some kind of positive environment. Now, what does inclusive teaching mean? Inclusive teaching means respecting the diversity. What is diversity? Now, children come from all walks of life. They come from all different states, different languages, different socioeconomic structures, and we have to respect, we have to understand as teachers. Enabling learning as per potential. Now, every child, now teachers teach all the children in the class, but only a few, become first. Does that mean we are not good teachers? No, every child has a different potential and we have to respect that. But that does not mean we stop working with the children. We work with them, we try to bring them forward. But we have to also understand that every child has a different potential. And with that potential, let's bring the child forward. Let's work on the child. So if the child is at 60%, my target will be first to bring the child to 65, then to 67, then to 70%. Not that my target from 60 is directly 90. No, that cannot happen. Gradually, I have to work with the child and bring the child forward. Meet learning needs and preferences regardless of backgrounds, learning styles, or abilities. So I look at the needs of the children. What does my child need to learn? What is the environment? What is the setup? And I design my classroom, I design my activities in that way, which, and there I will not consider what is the background that the child is coming from, what are the learning styles or abilities. First, I have to expose my children and understand their learning needs and expose them to activities like that. Now, this is one slide that I really love. Inclusion is, all this that we do here is inclusion. When I value everyone, this is inclusion. When I understand the school community, that's inclusion. When I celebrate diversity and individuality, that's also inclusion. When I talk about the needs of the whole community, now in the community, again, why I talk about the whole community? When I talk of the whole community, again, I will have differences. Differences not in the mental state, but differences in the physical needs, in the emotional needs. And I need to take care of these differences and needs. And I need to value them, I need to respect them, and then move forward. Valuing other cultures. Now, all cultures are equally respected, and we have to teach this. Now, the world is turning into a global village. And as a global village, we have to understand that there is a lot of people who are moving from the north to the south, south to the west, west to the east, and so on and so forth. Now, when this happens, cultures are mingling, and rather than as a constraint, we have to understand this as an opportunity. If you see in CBSE, CBSE has associated states. Like for Maharashtra, the associated state is Odisha. So when I talk about Odisha to my students, I may have a student who's here from Odisha who will be able to tell us about the culture, the tradition, and that is inclusion. In Odisha, they are studying about Maharashtra. So we are including, we are learning, and that's a beautiful way to bring about inclusion. Important aspect, reflect on your practices. Whatever practices we are following in our class, I as a teacher have to reflect time and again as to what am I doing? Is it right? Is it wrong? Do I need to modify? And what modifications should I bring about? Again, the important factor, which is right in the center of the slide, knowing and understanding the needs of the students. When I understand the varying needs of the students, now here again, I will divert a little bit and talk about the VARK, the kinds of learners, the V, visual learners, the A, auditory learners, the R, the read and write learners, and K, the kinesthetic learners. Again, their learning styles are different. Their needs in the classroom are very, very different. And as a teacher, I need to design my teaching styles. I need to design my activities in such a way that all of them, they get the essence, the crux of my lesson. My activities, my worksheets, the teaching styles have to be such that I cater to all the learning styles of the learners in my class. Now, I provide flexible learning environment. When I was talking about the VARK, again, my learning style, my teaching style has to be such that I bring in the inclusion. Again, which means that I am flexible and I understand that each child is different and I accept it and I design my activities, I design my lessons accordingly. Now, how can I bring about inclusion? Now, some strategies are excellence in teaching and learning. So when I excel, when I design my activities to excel, I will bring about inclusion. Promote a positive learning climate. What is a positive learning climate? When everybody enjoys, when everybody participates, when everybody feels that yes, they are a part of it, and that they are getting the respect, the attention, and the importance which is required, that's a positive learning climate, where everybody feels that they are a part of the class and the class accepts them and they accept the class. Encourage student interactions. Now, what is an interaction? Interaction means when we talk to each other, when we discuss, when we mingle. When this happens, then differences, barriers are broken down and inclusion occurs because acceptability rises. So, in case there is a child who needs some special help in the class, the teachers play a very, very strong role. So suppose a certain class of class 4, section A knows that, okay, from tomorrow, there is a child who needs special help, will be joining the class. The teacher can brief the children about it because there'll be children who would not have seen a child with some special abilities, may not have seen them in the society, or may not have seen them, such children in their families. So a sensitized environment created by the teacher would make the children take in and accept the child very well. Believe me, these children can become best buddies, best peers, best support for these children. Now, factors that make a positive learning environment. Now, when we establish a supportive learning culture, now again, the facilitator or the teacher has a very strong role to play here. She establishes a supporting learning culture. She sets the pace of the class because she keeps in mind the learner's needs. So the physical needs, the mental needs, the psychological needs, the emotional needs, all the needs are taken care of. She provides feedback. So suppose if a child hasn't behaved well, she needs to give a feedback. But then again, I believe in a statement. The statement is reprimand in private, praise in public. So when you praise in public, everybody feels good. Oh, my ma'am praised me in front of everyone. But every time a reprimand has to be done in private. You have to tell the child personally. So you give a feedback, whether positive or negative, but a positive feedback in front of all so that it motivates the others, but a negative feedback aside so that the child does not feel hurt. Celebrating success. You would all remember, when as children, when our teachers used to write good or excellent or just make a star out of, using a pen, and she used to make a star in our notebooks, how elated we used to feel. So, children don't need material gifts, but when you create that positive learning environment, when you bring about inclusion, these things, suppose if a child has helped a child with special needs, praise the child, appreciate, talk about in the class, maybe give a star on his hand. This will motivate not only that child, but others. Also, at this time, we have to offer safety. Now here, I am not only talking about the physical safety, but the mental safety. You have to give the confidence to the child, you can walk up to me and you can talk to me. I will provide you the help. Now, as teachers, we have to play the role of a second mother at school. So if we give this emotional stability and comfort to the child will feel safe, not only to, go on with the activities in the class, but also with the school environment, school behavior, and the connect will develop with you. Employing interactive games and activities. Now again, considering the heterogeneous mix of the students in the class, the games and activities have to be designed accordingly. Again, a quote, inclusive classrooms support the abilities and recognize the possibilities of all students. So this support abilities means whatever abilities are there in a child, those are supported because the teacher pushes the child forward, tells him, comforts him, yes, you can, go ahead, I'm there behind you, I will help you. So the abilities are sharpened, they are skilled. And there is a possibility that a child may outshine, the child may do very well because we recognize, we promote the child. Now, there are 7 pillars of inclusion, the first one being access. Access is giving a welcoming environment. When a child enters the class, he or she should feel welcomed, especially a new child. A new child, whether belonging to the higher IQ level, the normal, or the specially abled, they need to be felt, they need to be given that welcoming environment. So what happens is, especially in higher classes, the children have their own friend circle, they have their own groups. And the children, the new entrants in the class might feel at a loss. So here, again, the role of the teacher is very, very important. She has to set up an environment in the class where the new child is involved. The welcoming environment is created. The next one is attitude. How willing people are to embrace inclusion and diversity. So we have to open the minds and the hearts of the children to accept the difference. Simple things. Now, I'm not talking of the Corona time, but then simple things like when children were made to share tiffins. There is a child who's brought a Gujarati dish, and there's a child who's brought a Maharashtrian dish, and there's a child who's brought a Bengali dish. They sit together, they taste these dishes. The teacher can have an activity about, talk about your state, talk about your culture, talk about your dance, right? And then the others appreciate. So here, the teacher creates an environment where inclusion and diversity is accepted. Inclusion can also be embraced when teacher talks about the various, disabilities. I should not use that term. Actually, it is the special ability, but then the various concerns that a child may have in class in general, and how these children can be helped. So when the child grows up and goes into the actual society, because we all should remember that even the society in the school is a mini society. Teamwork, cooperation, being empathetic, all these values are ingrained at school, which the child goes out and uses in the society. So we teach the children how to respect help. Just as we teach first aid, in the same way, we have to teach the children as teachers, as you could even take the help of the counselors, how to, in case they come across any such person who needs any special help, how to go about it. Now, the third pillar of inclusion is the choice. What options people want and how to get involved. So now there are, if there is a special case in the child, there are gifted children, there are normal children, there are specially abled children, how to get each one involved with each other. Having simple activities in the class, subject-wise activities, when the teachers form groups, he or she can make sure that she forms the groups or he forms the groups in such a way that every child is given a chance and the work is assigned in the group according to their abilities. Everybody should feel, yes, I have done it. There should be a sense of achievement. Again, the partnership, how individual and organizational relationships are formed effectively. So again, that, the parent and the school contact, what kind of feedback we are giving, what kind of support we are giving to the parents comes here. Now, communication is the key. At times, you may need help of the parents, you may need help of the society, and to communicate, to discuss, to find out options actually gives, at times we feel hesitant. Oh, should I talk? Talk, do find out, speak to people, understand. Because when you talk to people, when you discuss, you come to know various things, various learnings, and this may give you a new route to find the solution to the problem. Now, again, A very important pillar of inclusion is the policy of the school. What is the organizational policy? So if we are teachers, what is the policy of the school in relation to inclusion? And the seventh pillar of inclusion is opportunities. We have to explore as teachers what opportunities we could provide to our students, especially the differently abled, so that they feel, yes, they've got a chance. I'll give you a small example here. I was with a school where there was a child who used to walk on crutches. And this child was very introvert. The mother asked us for help. The annual concert was around the corner, and we were trying to explore ways in which we could involve this child. So this was an act on, the soldiers and the freedom fighters and all of those. Now, this child could neither be a soldier, nor could be a dancer. So we said, fine, we dressed this child up as Mother India, yeah, and uh, we, draped a few chains around the child, and we brought the child on the stage, made the child stand there. So the freedom fighters came, and they all, unlocked the chains, and then the soldiers and all the leaders bent down to this child who was dressed as Mother India. Believe me, this made the child so very happy that we could see a change. We could see her happier. So a small act done by the teacher, done by the school, brought about a little change in the child. So as the picture below talks about, inclusion is progress, it's adaptation, it's connecting, it's becoming friends, it's giving the choice to empower oneself, collaborate, participate, support. Just below inclusion is support. We need to support children tremendously to bring them out of their fears, stigmas, their concern areas, and which this can be done by the teachers. Again, as my in the opening, as I said, that I am not talking of what a counselor can do. I am talking of what you and I, as the teaching fraternity, can do for these children. Now, inclusive learning strategies, simple things that a teacher can do in class. Learn and use student's name. Now, if you are addressed as you in the red dress, fourth row, third line, get up. And if I say you, Ajay, stand up. Where would you find yourself, relating to it more? You would find yourself relating to me more when I address you by the name. Model inclusive language. Inclusive language means I speak in a way where I say we all are included. I will not say, okay, only these children. I say we as a class have to design an activity for the school. Let us think about it. Next, use multiple and diverse examples. Now, again, as I told you, that there are different learning abilities, different learning styles, which is why my examples need to be diverse so that each child who has a different learning, a different understanding ability out of the VARK can pick up and understand what I'm trying to say. Again, most important, establish ground rules for interaction. Your rules should be set in place. Who will do what? How will we proceed? And once you do that, once you set a stage for everybody to get the chance, things would go on very smooth. Now, heartfulness is a very important part of inclusion. Heartfulness is a state of being where the center of control is the heart. Now, I'm not talking of the physical heart, which is, set in the left-hand side of the body, but I'm talking about the spiritual heart, which is the guiding principles in one life. If we are able to bring about this heartfulness into inclusion, I think we have succeeded as teachers. Now, who is a heartful teacher? A heartful teacher will be a role model, one who inspires and nurtures inspiration in students. Now, certain qualities. First, the teacher has to be relaxed. If the teacher herself becomes nervous, how would she control the nervousness or the anxiety of the child? Perfect role model, catalyst for change, good listener. I think half the task is done if we sit down and listen at peace. reacting immediately. Create a joyful and conducive atmosphere. Be a subtle felicitator. Effective delegator. Now I delegate tasks. Every child needs to feel, yes, I can do it. See, ma'am gave me the task because she feels I can do it. Nurtures inspiration. So, as teachers, see, we can be so many things and we have to remember it, and that is how we have to deal with our students. Now, the final words. When you establish a learning environment, keep the important factors in mind. It helps in developing a thriving, inclusive learning culture. A positive learning environment is where learners feel involved and responsible while being comfortable enough to participate in activities. And finally, in a positive learning culture, learners have high motivations that lead to better and more promising learning outcomes. So these are few CBSE circulars where CBSE has ensured that inclusion should be brought about. Inclusion has to be carried out in all classrooms, and these are few circulars of CBSE. And where there is inclusion, there is definitely hope, because we are trying to bring ahead all the children of the society. We are trying to do good to them. We are trying to do good for them. And as teachers, the teaching community, I'm pretty sure when we work so well during this COVID time, we can definitely do wonders for our children, because now the teaching community has proved to the society that we are capable of doing anything and everything possible. We just have to believe in ourselves. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू
Over
मैम.
to you, Shraddha.
यस, थैंक यू मैम. आपने बहुत ही अच्छी तरीके से आपका जो टॉपिक है वो बहुत अच्छे तरीके से समझाया, और काफ़ी मज़ा आया है सारी स्लाइड्स को देखकर, और मुझे लगता है जो भी व्यूअर्स हैं वो शायद समझ जाएंगे. और अगर आपको समझ में नहीं आता है तो प्लीज़ आप कमेंट करके हमें बता सकते हैं. कोई भी अगर आपका क्वेश्चन है आप प्लीज़ कमेंट कीजिए, हमें बताइए, हम मैडम से पूछकर आपको ज़रूर उसका आंसर प्रोवाइड कराएंगे. तो इसी के साथ आज का शो, आज की जो टॉक शो है हमारा, वो हम आज बंद करते हैं. वापस आपसे मिलेंगे नए टॉपिक के ऊपर, नए किसी प्रिंसिपल के साथ. सो थैंक यू सो मच एंड गुड बाय, गुड नाइट, शब्बा खैर, नमस्ते.
Namaskar. Thank you, Shraddha.
थैंक यू.